Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. I do have one quick favor before we get to the video that you came here for, and that is very simply this. You see that little red subscribe button below this video? Go ahead, smash that subscribe button. It really does help me. It really does help this channel grow and my audience grow. So go ahead and hit that red subscribe button. And now, here is the video that you came here for. Switch gears, talk a little bit of college hoops, because if you listen to the show on Friday, we kind of talked about the fact that while obviously, look, it's the time of year where college football is taking center stage with SEC Media Days, Big Ten Media Days is this week. If you're a college basketball fan, it was going to be a busy couple weeks in that space as well, because it was this is a time of year where recruiting in basketball really heats up. All of the summer circuit stuff is done. Peach Jam finished on Sunday. And over the next couple weeks, some of the kids that are a little bit further along in their recruitments are going to start making college decisions. Now, some of them are going to wait till the spring. Some of them are going to wait till the fall to make official visits. But many of them kind of know where they want to go and are going to start making commitments. Gigi Jackson, number one high school player in the class of 2023, as an example, and we talked about it on Monday's Aaron Torres Sports Podcast, decided that he was going to go to South Carolina, reclassify, and play this season in college basketball. Well, on top of Gigi Jackson committing over the weekend, there was another super marquee player who has decided where he is going to play college basketball. It is Justin Edwards. With Gigi Jackson reclassifying, Justin Edwards is now the number 3 player in the high school class of 2023. He is a player that was down to Tennessee and Kentucky. And on Monday, he made his college announcement for the 2023-2024 season. Justin Edwards, number 3 player in America, committed to, drum roll please, Justin Edwards, I almost called him Justin Jackson. Justin Edwards committed to the University of Kentucky. So shout out to John Calipari and shout out to the Wildcats. I told you on Friday that this could be the start of an unbelievable recruiting run for Kentucky, and it appears as though this is exactly what happened, as Justin Edwards, the number 3 player in the high school class of 2023, is officially a Kentucky Wildcat, will sign in November. Now, first of all, I'll get to the big picture ramifications in a minute, but for people who are not familiar with his game, it's a really, really good player. The high school class of 2023 is maybe a little bit down compared to some others, but this kid would be good in any era, any whatever, any class, any whatever. 6'7", lefty, athletic, plays on both ends of the court. I just really like that element of him. He plays super hard, he's competitive as you know what, and plays on both ends of the court. Offensively, a 3-level scorer, can finish at the rim. He can get up and throw it down. Has kind of a nice little floater, kind of mid-range game, again, as a lefty, and really has a nice, not only a three-point shot, but in a move that a lot of kids now have these days, thanks to Steph Curry and James Harden and everybody. He's got kind of a nice little step-back three-pointer as well. So he is a guy that I immediately think can come into college basketball next year and contribute and have an impact right away, and he would have been awesome at Tennessee, and he would have been awesome if he chose to go somewhere else. It just so happens that he is going to go to Kentucky. And I believe that he is going to have immediate impact, as you would suspect from a top 5 recruit in the country. Now, why this is so big, though, is not just because he's a top 3 prospect in this class, not just because he's a top 5-star, future McDonald's All-American, but there's some underlying things as well. And it's funny, right? Because I'm sure some of you aren't Kentucky fans, and you're going to immediately say, Torres, you always hype up these UK commits. You always da-da-da-da, this and that. It doesn't matter. Calipari this. But this one is actually big for a few reasons. First of all, credit to Kentucky, who came from way behind to get this commitment. Tennessee, for people who do not know or follow basketball recruiting, what Tennessee does, I think, about as well as anybody. They identify players very early, get in on them early, establish relationships, and that's generally what has led to this recruiting run over the last 3, 4, 5 years. Jaden Springer, 5-star McDonald's All-American. They were really the first ones to identify him as a high-level prospect. They got in with him early. He ends up as a Vol. Keon Johnson, definitely that was the case. They just identified him way before anybody else. He commits, he blows up. Now he is playing in the NBA. He's kind of one of those guys, G League, NBA, back and forth. Same with Kennedy Chandler last year. And so Tennessee has really been on this incredible recruiting run. And so first of all, what's so impressive is that Kentucky was able to make up ground really quick. And I think that's a direct credit to John Calipari. Now, according to my buddy Jack Pilgrim, Jack, I think everybody knows Jack, but for people who don't, just an unbelievable basketball recruiting reporter, specifically covering Kentucky basketball. What he said, and this is credit to John Calipari, John Calipari actually took the lead in this recruitment, and this is a big part of what led to this kid committing to Kentucky today. I know it sounds weird, and to some of you that don't follow recruiting, it might not mean much. It's a big deal for the head coach to take over recruitment. Usually, you know how it works. The assistant coaches lay the groundwork. The assistant coaches are on the phone constantly. The assistant coaches are on with your parents, with your AAU coach. Then the head coach comes in, kind of closes the deal, all that good stuff. That is not what happened here. John Calipari knew he was behind on this kid, knew that the kid felt slighted, and made this kid a top priority to not only to get back into the picture, but to let him know how important you are. Yes, we've recruited other guys, but here's how important you are. I'm not letting you deal with an assistant coach. Mom and dad aren't talking to my second, third guy in command. You have any questions, you come to me. That is how important you are to us and to this program. I am completely taking over. I'm telling you right now, you guys can disagree with me if you want. I've covered college basketball forever. I know people all over this industry. The number of coaches who would be willing to sacrifice their egos and their times. There's a lot of head coaches that don't even like to recruit. Calipari likes to recruit, and he sacrificed his ego to get this kid done. This kid felt slighted. This kid felt like he wasn't a priority at Kentucky. John Calipari spent the last few months letting him know, no, you're my top priority. I am taking over your recruitment. Beyond that, I also just think it's a win for kind of the old school way of the way that Calipari recruits. Because it's been an interesting kind of back and forth, right? Early in Calipari's time at Kentucky, there was this note. He would go into every kid's home and say, I can't promise you shots. I can't promise you a role, but you come here. You're going to prepare for the NBA. You're going to this. You're going to that. We'll get you in and out. You'll be awesome. You're going to win in college. You're going to be developed in college, and you're going to be ready for the NBA. And over the last couple of years, I do think that kind of style of recruiting has worked against him. There's a lot of schools that have just flat out said, do you want to go there and be part of this something? Or do you want to come here and be the focal point, get as many shots as you want, play as many minutes as you want, whatever? I can't speak to specifics, but I seem to remember that, like Anthony Edwards, that was kind of a thing with Anthony Edwards. Some of the kids that they've lost to Duke over the years, it seems as though that pitch has not resonated. And credit to Calipari, because I think that's basically what he said to Justin Edwards. Is, and again, I've heard Jack say it, I've heard some other Kentucky reporters say it, but essentially what he said was, you can go to Tennessee, you're going to be awesome, you're a great player, but if you come here, there is nowhere that is going to better prepare you for the pros than this place. There is nowhere that is going to better prepare you because you are going to be practicing against professionals every day, you are going to be in a professional environment, you are going to be playing in the biggest, most high-profile games. We all know what Kentucky's schedule looks like this year. They got, I think, Kansas in the Big 12 SEC Challenge, Michigan State, Michigan in London, SEC play, Louisville. So you're going to play in the biggest games on the biggest stages. You're going to practice against pros every day. Why do you need to go somewhere else to take 25, 30 shots a game? Tyler Hero didn't need that. He's making a lot of money in the NBA. Tyrese Maxey didn't need that. He's making a lot of money in the NBA. And I think that resonated with this kid, Justin Edwards. And I give Cal credit for getting the deal done and for not compromising who he is and, in fact, kind of accentuating what he sells. You don't need to go somewhere and take 35 shots a game to be a first-round pick. We get it done here. This is how we've done it for a decade, and we've had success doing it. Finally, what I would say, and I said this last week, I think this could be the start of just a surreal recruiting run over the next couple weeks for Kentucky. Talked about it a lot, but Kentucky already has 2 top 25 players committed. Rob Dillingham, the number 1 point guard in America, top 10 or so player, depending on what recruiting ranking you look at. And then Reed Sheppard, the son of former Kentucky star Jeff Sheppard. He is also committed for the class of 2023. Well, now Justin Edwards comes in, and you now officially have 2 top 10 players committed for the class of 2023. Now, I'm not saying it's going to pass Duke in the recruiting rankings. I should say, by the way, my UConn Huskies are at number 2 right now. I love UConn, love Dan Hurley. Don't think UConn is going to stay there after this commitment, as Kentucky now has 2 top 10 players, 3 top 25 players, and I think this could just be the beginning. And we've talked about it a lot over the last couple weeks, but I do think it is worth reiterating. DJ Wagner. Now he is essentially the unquestioned number 1 high school player in the class of 2023 now that Gigi Jackson reclassified. DJ Wagner, as I said last week, it's hard to envision a scenario where he doesn't end up in Kentucky, right? He just signed an NIL deal with Nocta, which is a brand under Nike that is run by Drake. He's going to be a spokesperson representative, be in some of their advertising campaigns. Hard for me to imagine him committing to an Adidas school after signing with Nocta. So if we're talking about already, we have a class that's probably going to finish number 2 or number 3 in a worst-case scenario. Now you have Justin Edwards in the mix, and I think DJ Wagner is not far behind. Udonna Kingsley, we talked about on last show. He's officially about to reclassify. He announced he will reclassify. He won't be part of this class, but he could reclassify, enroll at Kentucky, and be a difference maker right away. And then Aaron Bradshaw, as I said, the 5-star center in the class of 2023, former high school teammate of DJ Wagner. Don't know if he'll be staying at that high school or going somewhere else. It's basically down to Kentucky and the G League Ignite program for that kid. And so at worst, right now with Kentucky, you're talking about 3 top 25 kids, 2 top 10 kids. I think for sure you're going to add the 3rd top 10 kid in DJ Wagner. You're going to add a top 25 kid who is reclassifying in Udonna Kingsley, and you might not be done yet. Aaron Bradshaw, it seems as though it's a Kentucky versus G League Ignite race. Ron Howland, a big wing from Dallas or from Texas. I don't know if it's Dallas exactly. I think it is Dallas, Duncanville, whatever. Down to Arkansas and Kentucky. It feels like it's a 2-team race for them. I would give the slight edge to Arkansas right now. But man, oh man. You're talking about a class that at worst has 3 top 10 kids, 4 top 25 kids, potentially a 5th one with Aaron Bradshaw, a reclassified kid, and who else knows what happens along the way. And also, let's never forget, the transfer portal is real, it is spectacular, and Kentucky will get some kids there as well. So listen, it's way too early to start talking about what the 2023-2024 roster can look like at Kentucky, but I told you last week, and I stand by it. It looks to me like Kentucky is about to go on an incredible recruiting run. And it started with Justin Edwards committing to the Wildcats on Monday, a top 5 player nationally, the number 3 player in the country.